What was the draw to be part of this origin story of Peter Pan?
I think working with Joe Wright was my biggest draw. I mean, I've always been such a fan of everything that he's done. Pride and Prejudice, Atonement, and Anna Karenina, and he's always managed to take these stories that are known and loved by everyone and put his own creative, wildly imaginative twist on it. And I mean, I'd met him briefly, maybe like 12 years ago or something after Pride and Prejudice, and when I got the call that he wanted to meet with me to talk about Pan, I was, I told him I would have played Tinkerbell to work with him.
So now after working with him, what are his qualities? What would you say are his great qualities as a director?
I mean, man, his attention to detail is insane. I mean, he was, we'd tour around the studio and it was, I'd be putting on my wardrobe for starters, and he'd be like, "Can we take half an inch off on that? And no, that looks horrible there. And can we raise those up a little bit? And can we shorten boot legs? And can we get a full knee boot and everything?" And it's just within that. And then I tour with him through the stages, and it's just, the whole thing was his world and his vision, and in terms of who he is as a person, is just he's one of the most enthusiastically infectious people I've ever met. Whatever he loves, he manages to make you love it just as much, and because he shows you the beauty and the humor in it, and he's also quite childish, and I am as well, and we have childish fun together.
So tell me how you worked together with Joe to create this character that's the pre-villainous Hook I haven't seen before.
When I first met with Joe, well, obviously, I'd read the script that Jason Fuchs had written. I thought it was really wonderful. I actually was extremely moved by it. When I first met with Joe, I said, man, I laughed and I cried. I'd never seen a Hook like this before. I was wildly entertained by him, by all of his attributes, how clumsy he was and selfish and childish, and he laughed, and I said, but he's Hook without the hook? Do I get that right? And he said, yeah, we would hope to potentially, make more of these and turn it into a Hook that everybody knows and loves. But right now he's quite swashbuckling and adventurous and sometimes charming and sometimes childish. And he'd said, we're doing a spin on Blackbeard, and we're doing a new Tiger Lily, and much more vocal and beautiful. And he said, Hook, I see is someone from an early John Ford film, like someone that if he wasn't in the mines or on Neverland, he'd be completely content being on a horse on the prairie. And because I am such a fan of everything Joe does and how he personalizes it and really makes it into his own, I was really intrigued to see what this would be like.
Yeah. What does Hook, in your opinion, what does he want from Peter?
Well, within this, that there's different, and the originals, once I went back, I kind of loved how much he hated Peter because Peter was young, and he sort of was like kind of lightning in a bottle, and Hook was old, and it was this sort of, it was this sort of sadness of time past, and he can't get it back, and so I always kind of loved that little aspect. Within this film, it's much more. He's much more quite selfish within it. Peter demands that if he's going to help Hook get off this island and fly him to home, a home to which he can't remember, that he must help Peter find his mother. And Hook agrees to this, but in no way really, means it or cares to. And once Hook finds his own ship, his selfish sort of exterior comes out full-fleshed, and you really see his true colors. But then there are tidbits, and also the interesting bit is about this film is the original Jay Barry text had Blackbeard in it. And there's just one little segment, there's one little line that said, Hook learned his ways from Blackbeard. And so we, in little moments, tried to add little Blackbeardisms into it, knowing that, obviously this was a younger Hook that sort of was having a budding relationship with Tiger Lily and was having this kind of back and forth kinship with Peter, was slowly sort of showing us this much more, Blackbeardian, villainous side to become.
Tell us about working with Levi as Peter.
All right.
It's amazing. Right?
Man, Levi Miller. What can I say? Levi, from the moment I met him, has been swooning every lady's and younger girl's hearts that I've ever seen him encounter. He's the most charming young boy I've ever met. He really is Peter Pan in a way. Although he's not quite as selfish as Peter Pan's depicted to be in a lot of the versions. He's wise beyond his years. He's a brilliant actor, and what he did with this film is brilliant, and how he holds himself is brilliant, and how he handles these press junkets is brilliant, and I think I've learned half my vocabulary from him, and he's just he's way beyond what I ever was at 11, guaranteed.
11, my God. Hugh said he'd never really been part of a film where the environment that was created, the costumes, everything, made him really immerse himself even more so.
Yeah.
Did you have that experience too?
I'd never done a film where I was asked to sort of be bigger than life and flamboyant and over the top. And when Joe asked me to do this, he'd said, imagine that Neverland is just a figment of a child's imagination, so there are no rules, and surprise us. And the more we continued to do that, the more fun we were having, and the more fun Joe was having, and especially with these sets being so massive. And I think the Neverland Forest set was one of the biggest sets the UK had ever built, and it would be 200 extras dressed as natives, and it'd be 200 cast members and a Ugandan children's choir, and Levi as an 11-year-old, wide-eyed, first experience like this, dancing around on these sets because Joe would be playing music and everybody's acting childish and ridiculous, and we realized that every film should really be like this.